The rhythmic hum of my truck's engine fills the silence as I drive home. After another long day on the job site, all I want is a quiet evening with my wife, Allison. The memory of our high school days together makes me smile, back when love was simple and trust was implicit. But lately, something feels off. Pulling into the driveway, I notice her car is already parked. She's home earlier than usual, which is a surprise considering her late nights have become the norm. My heart tugs in two directions, hope and suspicion. "Babe," I call out as I step inside. The faint scent of lavender greets me, the same one Allison always loved. She doesn't answer, but the soft sound of music floats down from upstairs. I follow the melody to our bedroom, where I find her sitting on the edge of the bed, scrolling through her phone. "Hey, you're home early," I say, trying to keep my tone neutral. She startles, as if I've caught her mid-crime. "Oh, hey Aaron," she says, quickly locking her phone and setting it face down. Her smile feels forced, and my stomach tightens. "What's going on?" I ask, keeping my voice casual. "Nothing. Just winding down after work." She stands and stretches, but her eyes flicker toward her phone like it holds a secret she's desperate to protect. I decide not to press her, yet. Instead, I kiss her on the cheek and head to the kitchen, my mind racing. I've been ignoring the signs for months now. The late nights, the sudden attachment to her phone, the distant glances when she thinks I'm not looking. Maybe I'm paranoid, but the knot in my gut tells me I'm not wrong. Later that night, as she sleeps, I take her phone from the nightstand. My hands shake as I unlock it using the code I've memorized over weeks of observation. A string of messages greets me, messages that confirm my worst fears. The words "last night was amazing and can't wait for next time" cut through me like a blade. The sender's name, Jason, burns into my memory. It's not just emotional cheating, it's physical. My wife, my Allison, has been lying to me. I feel sick, but the anger bubbling beneath the surface keeps me steady. There's no turning back now. I'm going to find out everything. I sit in the dark, the phone still in my hand, the screen glowing like a sinister beacon. My breath comes in shallow bursts as I read through the messages again. There's no ambiguity, no room for doubt. Allison is meeting Jason, a coworker, no less, and their relationship has crossed every line I thought we built together. The sound of her soft breathing behind me feels like a mockery. How can she sleep so peacefully while my world is crumbling? I put the phone back exactly where I found it, careful not to wake her, and head to the kitchen. The cool air against my face does little to calm the fire inside me. I pour a glass of water and stare out the window into the empty street. My mind races, torn between confrontation and strategy. I know enough to feel betrayed, but not enough to dismantle her lies completely. If I confront her now, she'll twist the truth or deny it outright. No, I need more. I need the full picture. The next morning, Allison is as chipper as ever, humming softly as she pours her coffee. I watch her, every smile and glance fueling the growing storm inside me. How can she pretend so well? "Big plans for the day?" she asks, her tone light and casual. "Just the usual," I reply, keeping my voice steady. "You?" "Work," she says quickly. "Probably late again. We're swamped with a new project." Her lies sting, but I nod, playing along. "Try not to overdo it," I say, offering her the same concerned smile I've given 100 times before. Once she leaves, I get to work. It doesn't take long to install a tracker on her car, one of the perks of working construction and knowing my way around tools. It's subtle, untraceable, and will feed me her location in real time. My gut twists with guilt, but the betrayal outweighs it. By mid-afternoon, the tracker pings her at a location far from her office, a quiet, upscale neighborhood on the other side of town. I follow, keeping a safe distance. My hands grip the steering wheel so tightly they ache. When her car pulls into the driveway of a modest two-story house, my heart sinks. The door opens and a man, Jason, I assume, steps out, smiling as she climbs out of her car. Their hug is intimate, their laughter easy. I watch from the safety of my truck, anger and humiliation boiling inside me. They disappear inside, and I know there's no turning back. Whatever happens next, this charade ends today. I sit in the truck, my pulse thudding in my ears as I stare at the house. The quiet neighborhood feels suffocating, the idyllic setting a cruel backdrop to my shattered world. Every fiber of my being wants to charge through the door, demand answers, and let them see the fury they've ignited. But something stops me, something colder and more calculated. No, I think. This needs to be handled with precision. If I confront her now, she'll spin it, gaslight me, or worse, make herself the victim. I need undeniable proof, something she can't manipulate or explain away. Grabbing my phone, I start recording. The lens captures the house, the car in the driveway, and the timestamp. My hands shake as I zoom in, ensuring every detail is clear. It's not enough, though. I need more. I wait, watching the minutes tick by like hours. Finally, the door opens. Allison and Jason step out, laughing and touching in ways that make my stomach churn. He leans in and kisses her, and she doesn't hesitate. The sight burns into my memory, but I don't look away. The camera captures everything. When they part, she gets back into her car, her face glowing with the kind of happiness I haven't seen in years. As Jason waves her off, I stay in the shadows, my fury simmering just below the surface. This isn't over. Once she's gone, I follow him, staying a safe distance behind his car. He drives to a local bar, parking in the back lot. I wait a few moments before stepping out, my heart pounding as I approach. Through the window, I see him order a drink, chatting easily with the bartender. It's as if nothing has happened, as if he hasn't just destroyed another man's life. I snap a few photos and leave. There's no need for confrontation yet. I have what I need for now. That evening, Allison comes home late, just as she said she would. She smiles at me, kisses my cheek, and asks about my day like everything is normal. It's surreal, watching her play this role so effortlessly while I know the truth. Busy day? I ask, keeping my tone light. Oh, you wouldn't believe it, she says, shaking her head. The clients are so demanding. She doesn't flinch as she lies. It's almost impressive, but I don't react. I smile, nod, and play along, all the while plotting my next move. This isn't over, Allison. Not by a long shot. The next morning, I'm up before Allison. I watch her sleep for a moment, wondering how I ever let myself believe in this illusion of trust. Her phone sits on the nightstand, innocuous yet bursting with secrets. I pick it up, unlocking it with the code I've memorized, and scroll through her messages again. There's a new one from Jason. Yesterday was perfect. I can't wait to see you again. My jaw tightens as I stare at the screen. It's not just the words, but the casual ease with which they're exchanged. They don't care about the consequences, about me. I save screenshots of the messages to my phone. This is my insurance, my proof, but it still doesn't feel like enough. I need something irrefutable, something that leaves no room for excuses. As Allison stirs, I quickly place the phone back on the nightstand and head to the kitchen, pretending to busy myself with breakfast. She joins me a few minutes later, wearing the same easy smile that used to warm my heart. Smells good, she says, grabbing a mug for coffee. You're spoiling me. Figured you could use a little pick-me-up, I reply, keeping my voice steady. She laughs, sipping her coffee as if nothing is amiss. The casualness of it makes me want to scream. How can she sit here, acting like the devoted wife, while sneaking around with someone else? I'm heading out early today, she says, meeting a client across town. My pulse quickens, but I force a smile. Another long day? Probably, she says, already checking her phone. Don't wait up for me. I watch her leave, the lie hanging in the air like smoke. As soon as she's gone, I grab my keys and follow the tracker again. She's not heading to work or any client meeting. The familiar address pings on my screen, Jason's house. I park a few blocks away, slipping into the shadow of a nearby tree. My vantage point gives me a clear view of the front door, where she's already inside. The minutes tick by, my anger growing with every passing second. When they finally step out onto the porch, laughing like carefree teenagers, something snaps inside me. I'm done waiting. It's time to take control. But not here. Not now. I can't risk a scene. Instead, I tail her back home, ensuring she doesn't notice me. My plan needs to be executed perfectly. That night, As she showers, I make my move. Her laptop is open on the dining table, the screen glowing with unanswered emails. I access it easily, finding her work schedule and personal calendar. It's all there. The hidden meetings, the false excuses, the web of deceit she's woven over months. I copy everything onto a flash drive, my resolve hardening with each passing moment. By the time she steps out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel and humming softly, I've already decided what comes next. It's time to confront her, but not until I have the upper hand. The next morning feels like the calm before the storm. I watch Allison go through her usual routine, oblivious to the firestorm brewing beneath the surface. She hums as she makes coffee, checking her phone and scrolling through messages like nothing in the world is wrong. The sight disgusts me, but I keep my face neutral. The moment has to be right. When she leaves for work, I grab my phone and car keys, tailing her again. Sure enough, the tracker leads me to Jason's house. This time, I park closer, angling my car for a clear view of their driveway. My phone camera records every moment: her arrival, Jason greeting her with a kiss, their lingering embrace as they step inside together. My heart pounds, not with sadness but with a cold determination. The time for passivity is over. I've given her every chance to prove me wrong, but she's made her choice. Now it's my turn. I wait until she leaves, following her back to our house. She doesn't suspect a thing as she walks through the door, smiling and greeting me like the doting wife she's pretending to be. "You're home early," I say casually, keeping my voice even. "Yeah, my client canceled last minute," she replies, setting her bag down. "Figured I'd come home and surprise you." "Oh, you've definitely surprised me," I say, stepping closer. My voice is sharp now, and she stiffens, turning to face me. "What's that supposed to mean?" she asks, her tone defensive. I hold up my phone, showing her the video I recorded earlier. Her face drains of color as the footage plays. Her walking into Jason's house, his arms around her, the kiss. Her lips part, but no words come out. "Explain this," I demand, my voice cold. I can't believe you're spying on me," she stammers, her tone shifting from shock to indignation. "That's such an invasion of privacy. Don't you dare turn this around on me." I snap, my anger boiling over. I'm not the one sneaking around, lying, and betraying everything we've built. Tears well up in her eyes, but I don't let them sway me. I've seen this act before, the way she manipulates emotions to get what she wants. Not this time. "It's not what you think," she says, her voice trembling. "Jason and we're just friends. I can explain." I laugh bitterly, shaking my head. "Friends? Is that what you call it?" Because the texts, the lies, the hours spent at his house, none of that looks like friendship to me. She takes a step toward me, her hands outstretched as if to plead. "Aaron, please, save it." I cut her off. "I've given you every chance to come clean, to tell me the truth. But instead, you've lied to my face over and over. I'm done playing the fool." Her tears spill over, and for a brief moment, I feel a pang of what used to be love. But it's quickly overshadowed by the weight of her betrayal. This isn't the woman I thought I married. This is someone else entirely. "Pack a bag," I say, my voice firm. "You're leaving. Tonight." She gasps, shaking her head. "Aaron, please, don't do this. Let's talk about it. We can fix this." "There's nothing left to fix," I reply, my tone final. "You made your choice. Now live with the consequences." As she retreats to the bedroom, sobbing quietly, I feel a strange sense of calm. For the first time in months, I'm in control. But this is only the beginning. Justice is coming, and it will be on my terms. The sound of the suitcase zipper fills the house like a sharp reminder of the end. Allison moves slowly, as if dragging out every second, hoping I'll soften. But there's no room for softness anymore. The weight of her betrayal has crushed that part of me. "You're really doing this," she says, standing in the doorway of the bedroom, her voice trembling. Her suitcase sits by her feet, a tangible symbol of what's left of our life together. "You did this," I reply coldly, meeting her tear-filled eyes with a steely gaze. "Now leave." She hesitates, her lips quivering as if she's about to speak. but I raise a hand to stop her. Don't, I warn. Don't waste another lie on me. With one last look, she picks up her suitcase and heads toward the door. The sound of it rolling across the floor is a final, somber note. As the door closes behind her, the silence feels heavy, yet oddly liberating. She's gone, and for the first time in a long while, I can breathe. But this isn't over. Not by a long shot. I spend the rest of the evening reviewing everything I've gathered. The texts, the videos, the screenshots. It's a painful process, but necessary. Every detail strengthens my resolve. Allison didn't just betray me. She tried to erase me, to replace me. That's not something I'll let go without a fight. By morning, I've outlined my plan. It's not just about confronting her. It's about ensuring she feels the weight of her actions. The betrayal wasn't just personal. It was systematic, calculated. Her lies affected my life, my reputation, my dignity. I'm going to take all of that back. The first step is to protect myself legally. I contact a divorce attorney, a no-nonsense woman named Clara recommended by a friend. I lay everything out for her, sparing no detail. Clara listens intently, her sharp eyes narrowing as I describe the extent of Allison's deceit. You have a strong case, she says, nodding. The evidence you've gathered will work heavily in your favor, especially if we can prove financial misconduct or neglect. Has she used joint funds for any of this? Possibly, I say, recalling a few suspicious charges on our credit card statements. I'll check. Good. The more we can document, the stronger your position. I'll file the initial paperwork today. Be prepared for pushback. Cases like these can get messy. Messy doesn't scare me, I reply firmly. I just want her out of my life for good. Clara gives me a small, approving smile. We'll make sure of that. By the time I leave her office, the first domino has fallen. The rest, I know, will follow. That evening, I sit alone in the living room, a glass of whiskey in hand. The house feels different now, emptier, quieter. The life Allison and I built together is gone, but in its place is something new, clarity. This isn't just about ending the marriage. It's about reclaiming myself, my future, and my dignity. As I swirl the amber liquid in my glass, I feel a strange sense of peace. The storm isn't over, but for the first time, I know exactly where I stand, and I'm ready for whatever comes next. The next few days are a blur of paperwork, meetings, and preparation. Clara is relentless, dissecting every aspect of my life with Allison, from our finances to her recent behavior. Each piece of information feels like a fresh wound, but I know it's necessary. One evening, I sit at the dining table, poring over our bank statements. At first glance, everything seems routine. Groceries, utilities, and the occasional splurge. But then I spot it. A series of charges at restaurants I've never been to, on dates I know I was out of town for work. They're followed by hotel transactions, each tied to nights Allison claimed she was working late. I document every charge, adding them to the growing file I've compiled. With each new discovery, my anger burns brighter. She didn't just betray me emotionally. She used our shared resources to fund her lies. Clara's going to love this. The next morning, I meet with her again, handing over the evidence. She scans the statements, her lips tightening into a thin line. This is exactly what we needed, she says, her voice clipped. We can use these transactions to strengthen your case. If she's siphoning marital funds for her affair, the court won't look kindly on her. What happens next? I ask, leaning forward. We'll file for a financial audit, Clara explains. It'll force her to disclose all her expenditures. From there, we can build a case for reimbursement and potentially more damages. Her words are cold and precise, but they give me hope. For the first time, it feels like I'm gaining ground, like the power is shifting back to me. Later that evening, I get a call from an unknown number. I hesitate before answering, my gut already telling me it's trouble. Hello? Aaron. The voice is familiar, soft yet trembling. It's Allison. What do you want? I ask, my tone sharp. I need to talk to you, she says. Please, just give me a chance to explain. You had your chance, I snap, and you wasted it. Please, she begs. I made a mistake. I know I did. But Jason, he's not what I thought he was. He's dangerous. Her words catch me off guard. Dangerous? What are you talking about? I can't explain over the phone, she says, her voice breaking. Please, Aaron, I need to see you. Just one conversation, that's all I'm asking. Against my better judgment, I agree to meet her at a neutral location, a coffee shop downtown. I arrive early, taking a seat near the window where I can see everything. My mind races with possibilities. Is this a genuine plea for help, or another manipulative ploy? When Allison walks in, she looks different, disheveled, her usual confidence replaced by nervous energy. She sits across from me, clutching a cup of coffee like it's the only thing grounding her. I know you have no reason to trust me, she starts, her voice shaky. But you need to know the truth about Jason. He's not who he says he is. And you're just figuring this out now? I ask, my tone biting. I thought I could handle it, she says, tears welling up. But he's been threatening me. He knows about the divorce, and he's furious. He says if I don't leave you and go with him, he'll ruin us both. I lean back, studying her carefully. Ruin us how? He has connections, she says, her voice dropping to a whisper. People in high places. He told me he'll make sure neither of us comes out of this unscathed. Her words hang heavy in the air. I don't trust her. How could I after everything? But there's something in her eyes, a genuine fear that feels hard to fake. Why are you telling me this now? I ask. Because I need your help, she admits, her voice barely audible. I made a mistake, Aaron, but if we don't stop him, he'll destroy both of us. The irony isn't lost on me. After everything she's done, she's now asking for my protection. I don't know whether to laugh or scream. But one thing is clear. Jason isn't just her problem anymore. He's mine too. I lean forward, keeping my voice low but firm. Why should I help you, Allison? You betrayed me, lied to me, and now you expect me to clean up your mess? She flinches, her fingers tightening around her coffee cup. I know I don't deserve it, she whispers. But Jason, he's dangerous, Aaron. He's not just some coworker I got involved with. He has power, connections. He can make your life hell if he wants to. Her desperation seems genuine, but my skepticism doesn't waver. Why don't you go to the police? I ask coldly. If he's as dangerous as you say, let them handle it. I can't, she says, her voice cracking. He has evidence, messages, photos, things he's threatening to leak if I speak out. He's already made it clear that he won't stop until he ruins both of us. The mention of evidence makes my stomach churn. It's one thing to deal with the betrayal and the fallout of our marriage, but public humiliation? That's a weapon Jason could use against me just as easily as her. I sit back, the weight of her words settling on me. So, what exactly do you want from me? I need you to help me expose him, she says, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and hope. He thinks he's untouchable, but if we work together, we can take him down. Her plea hangs in the air, and I feel a surge of conflicting emotions, anger, pity, and something I can't quite name. I want to tell her to get lost, to deal with the consequences of her actions on her own. But if Jason really is as dangerous as she claims, walking away isn't an option. Not if it puts me in his crosshairs. I take a deep breath, the decision forming in my mind. Fine, I say slowly. I'll help you. But this isn't about you, Allison. It's about making sure Jason can't hurt me or anyone else ever again. Her relief is palpable, and for a moment, I see a glimmer of the woman I used to love. But I push the thought aside. This isn't about rekindling anything. It's about survival. What do you know about him? I ask, leaning in. His connections, his weaknesses, anything we can use. He's tied to some powerful people, she says, her voice trembling. Lawyers, politicians, even some shady business types. They protect him because he's useful to them. But I know where he keeps his personal files, evidence of his own dirt. If we can get our hands on it, we can expose him. My mind races, formulating a plan. This is bigger than I expected, but I'm no stranger to a fight. If Jason wants a war, he's going to get one. When do we start? I ask, my voice hard and determined. Allison hesitates, as if she didn't expect me to agree so quickly. We'll need to be careful, she says. If he catches wind of this, let me worry about that. I cut her off. You just make sure you're telling me everything. She nods, her expression somber. I will. I swear. As I leave the coffee shop, my mind is already working overtime. This isn't just about Allison anymore. Jason has made himself my enemy, and I don't back down from enemies. It's time to fight fire with fire. I drive home, my grip tight on the steering wheel as the weight of the situation settles in. Allison's betrayal is one thing, but the prospect of Jason's reach, his connections, and the danger he poses adds a new layer of urgency. If what she says is true, then this isn't just personal. It's a battle for control and survival. As I step into the house, the emptiness feels heavier than usual. I set my keys down and head straight to my office, pulling out a notebook to start jotting down everything Allison told me. The names she mentioned, the supposed evidence Jason has, and the location of his files. It all goes in. This isn't just about keeping track. It's about preparing for whatever comes next. A message pings on my phone. It's from Allison. Thank you. I know I don't deserve your help, but I promise I won't let you down. I stare at the screen, debating whether to reply. Finally, I type a short response. Don't thank me. Just tell the truth. I set the phone down and return to my notes. If Jason has files that could incriminate him, they'll likely be in a secure location. His office, his home, maybe even a digital backup. I need more information, but asking Allison directly might raise suspicion on her end. If Jason's truly paranoid, he could be watching her already. The thought sends a chill down my spine. I can't rely on her alone. I need backup, someone outside this mess who can help me think clearly. That's when I remember Mike, my oldest friend. He's a tech whiz and has bailed me out of more than one sticky situation. I grab my phone and call him. Mike, it's Aaron. I say when he picks up. Well, long time no hear, he says, his voice light. What's up, man? I need a favor, I say, skipping the small talk. And it's a big one. There's a pause, then a chuckle. You always did know how to get my attention. What kind of favor? I hesitate, debating how much to tell him. Let's just say it's a personal matter. There's someone I need to look into. I think he's dangerous, and I need to know what I'm up against. Mike's tone shifts, the humor gone. Dangerous how? You in trouble? Not yet, I reply. But I might be if I don't get ahead of this. Can you help? Send me the details, he says without hesitation. I'll start digging. But Aaron, if this guy's as bad as you say, be careful. These things can spiral fast. Trust me, I say. I'm already in the middle of the spiral. After we hang up, I send Mike everything I have on Jason. The name of his firm, his address, and the rumors Allison shared. Mike doesn't need much to get started. If there's dirt to be found, he'll uncover it. The next morning, I get a text from him. Call me. You're not going to believe this. My stomach twists as I dial his number. Mike answers immediately. I did some digging, he says, his tone serious. Your boy Jason isn't just a lawyer. He's tied to a whole network of shady operations. Bribery, extortion, even blackmail. The guy's a ghost. Barely any online presence, but plenty of whispers in the right circles. What kind of whispers? I ask, gripping the phone tighter. Let's just say he doesn't like loose ends, Mike says. There are rumors about people disappearing after crossing him. Nothing confirmed, but enough to raise red flags. My blood runs cold. This isn't just about exposing Jason anymore. It's about surviving him. I'm sending you a file, Mike continues. Everything I found. Use it wisely, Aaron. And if you need anything else, let me know. Thanks, Mike, I say. I owe you one. Just stay alive, he replies before hanging up. As the file comes through, I open it, scanning the information. Jason's connections are deeper than I thought. He's not just dangerous. He's calculated, protected, and relentless. This fight just got a whole lot bigger, and I'm ready for it. The file Mike sends me is a bombshell. It outlines Jason's connections to high-profile individuals in business and politics, most of them cloaked in plausible deniability. There are mentions of offshore accounts, suspiciously awarded contracts, and ties to people with criminal records. He's a puppet master, pulling strings to get what he wants, and I'm his newest obstacle. I stare at the screen, my anger hardening into resolve. If Jason thinks he can intimidate me into submission, he's got another thing coming. But I know I can't tackle this alone. I need allies, strategy, and most importantly, a way to make Jason's network crumble without painting a target on my back. The next step is clear. I have to find those files Allison mentioned. If they're as incriminating as she claims, they could be the key to bringing him down. But getting them won't be easy. I text Allison, "We need to talk. In person. Meet me at the park by your old office at 3 p.m. Her reply comes quickly, "I'll be there." At 3 o'clock, I'm sitting on a bench beneath a sprawling oak tree, the park quiet except for the occasional jogger or dog walker. Allison arrives a few minutes later, wearing sunglasses and looking over her shoulder like she's being followed. She sits beside me, her posture stiff. "What's going on?" she asks, keeping her voice low. "I need to know exactly where Jason keeps his files," I say, cutting straight to the point. "Not guesses. Details." She hesitates, biting her lip. "He has a safe at his house," she finally says. "In his office. But you'll never get in. He's paranoid about security." "Then I'll need your help," I reply. "You know the layout, the routines, how to avoid being seen." Her eyes widen. "You're serious? Aaron, this isn't some game. If he catches you, I'm not asking," I interrupt. "You said you wanted my help. Well, this is how it happens. We hit him where it hurts." She looks away, her hands twisting in her lap. "He has cameras," she says after a long pause, "and a security system. The safe is biometric, fingerprint, and passcode. Do you know the code?" I ask. She nods reluctantly. "But he'll know if the safe is opened. It sends an alert to his phone." I lean back, considering my options. Breaking into Jason's house is risky, but with the right tools and timing, it's not impossible. And if I pull it off, the payoff could be worth the risk. "Allison," I say, turning to her, "do you want him out of your life or not?" "Yes," she says, her voice trembling. "But I'm scared, Aaron. You don't know what he's capable of." "I know enough," I reply, "and I'm not backing down." We spend the next hour going over the details, his schedule, the placement of cameras, the layout of the house. Every piece of information is critical, and I commit it all to memory. By the time we're done, I have a plan forming in my mind. As Allison gets up to leave, she hesitates, looking down at me. "Be careful," she says softly. "Please." I nod, my expression unreadable. "Go home. I'll handle this." That night, I make a few calls, securing the equipment I'll need. A signal jammer to disable the cameras, gloves to avoid leaving fingerprints, and a small toolkit for bypassing locks. I'm not a professional, but years of working construction have taught me enough to get by. As I lay out the tools on the dining table, the weight of what I'm about to do sinks in. This isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about taking control of my life and ensuring Jason can never hurt me or anyone else again. Tomorrow, it begins. The next day, I wake up early, my mind sharp and focused. Every detail of the plan has to go perfectly. Jason's power lies in the shadows, in the leverage he holds over people. If I can expose him, his empire will crumble. I spend the morning double-checking my equipment. The signal jammer works flawlessly, disrupting any nearby Wi-Fi or camera feeds. My gloves are snug, ensuring I won't leave prints, and my toolkit is complete. I've even packed a flash drive to copy anything from Jason's computer. It's risky, but if there's one thing I've learned about men like him, it's that they get sloppy when they think they're untouchable. By noon, I'm parked a block away from Jason's house, the street quiet and lined with neatly trimmed hedges. His car isn't in the driveway. Allison confirmed he'd be at a networking lunch until 3 p.m. That gives me just over 2 hours to get in, find the files, and get out. I wait a few more minutes to ensure the coast is clear before slipping out of my car. My heart pounds as I approach the house, the weight of what I'm about to do pressing down on me. But there's no room for hesitation. If I falter now, I might as well hand Jason the victory. The side gate is unlocked, just as Allison described, and I slip into the backyard. The patio is expansive, with sleek furniture and a pool that glimmers in the sunlight. It's the kind of luxury that screams arrogance. I head toward the back door, crouching low to avoid the camera mounted above. The signal jammer hums quietly in my pocket, ensuring I'm invisible. The lock is tougher than I expected, but my tools make quick work of it. Within seconds, I'm inside. Jason's house is immaculate, almost sterile, with modern furniture and minimal decor. It doesn't feel like a home, more like a trophy, a symbol of his success. I move quickly, making my way to his office on the second floor. Every creak of the floorboards feels deafening, but I press on, my pulse racing. The office door is locked, but it's no match for my toolkit. I step inside, shutting the door behind me. The room is exactly as Allison described. Dark wood shelves, a massive desk, and a safe hidden behind a large painting. I waste no time, pulling the painting aside to reveal the sleek, black safe. The biometric scanner blinks at me, waiting for Jason's fingerprint. This is the tricky part. Allison gave me the passcode, but the fingerprint scanner is another matter. I reach into my pocket, pulling out a small plastic bag containing a sticky, transparent film. It's a crude workaround, but Allison managed to snag Jason's fingerprint off a glass. I press it to the scanner, holding my breath. The light turns green, and the safe clicks open. Inside, I find folders stuffed with documents, hard drives, and a few flash drives. I grab everything, stuffing it into my bag. My hands tremble as I spot a small black notebook, Jason's handwriting scrawled across the pages. This must be his personal ledger, the key to all his dealings. Just as I slip it into my bag, I hear the sound of a car pulling into the driveway. My stomach drops. He's home early. I freeze, listening intently as the front door opens and Jason's voice echoes through the house. He's on the phone, his tone sharp and commanding. My window of escape is closing fast. I dart to the office door, cracking it open just enough to peer out. He's heading toward the kitchen, still on the phone, completely unaware of my presence. I slip out, moving as silently as possible, my heart pounding in my chest. The stairs creak under my weight, and I hold my breath, praying he doesn't hear. He pauses mid-sentence, and I freeze, clutching the banister. After a tense moment, he continues his conversation, and I inch my way down. Reaching the back door feels like a miracle. I slip outside, careful to stay out of sight, and make my way back to the side gate. My car is just a block away, and I don't stop moving until I'm inside with the doors locked. As I drive away, the adrenaline starts to fade, replaced by a surge of triumph. I've got what I came for. Jason's fortress isn't as impenetrable as he thought, but the real battle is just beginning. I pull into my driveway, my mind racing with the possibilities of what I just acquired. The weight of the bag feels heavier now, filled with the potential to dismantle Jason's empire. As I step inside, the house feels eerily quiet, a stark contrast to the storm raging in my chest. In the kitchen, I spread out the contents of the safe on the table, folders, hard drives, flash drives, and the black notebook. Each item is a potential gold mine, but also a time bomb. Jason won't take this breach lightly. I plug one of the flash drives into my laptop, holding my breath as the files load. What I see sends a chill down my spine. Spreadsheets detailing transactions with cryptic notes, names linked to shady offshore accounts, and even scanned contracts tied to suspiciously lucrative deals. Jason isn't just corrupt, he's a criminal mastermind. I snap photos of the documents with my phone, saving them as a backup. The ledger is next. Flipping through its pages, I find a mix of handwritten notes and lists of names. Some are familiar, local politicians, prominent business owners, but others are unknown. The connections are sprawling, and the implications are staggering. Then I spot something that makes my blood run cold. My name. It's scribbled in a margin, followed by a question mark and the word leverage. My chest tightens. Jason wasn't just stringing Allison along. He had his sights set on me too. Was it because of her, or had he found another angle to exploit? Either way, I know one thing for sure. This just became personal. My phone buzzes on the table, jolting me from my thoughts. It's Allison. Did you get it? She asks, her voice hushed and frantic. I got it, I reply, keeping my tone steady. And it's worse than we thought. What do you mean? I mean he's tied to half the city's power players, and he's keeping tabs on me. On us. She's silent for a moment, then whispers, Aaron, You have to be careful. If he knows you were there, he doesn't. I cut her off. Not yet. But it won't take him long to figure it out. What do we do now? She asks, her voice trembling. We go on the offensive, I say firmly. This isn't just about exposing him. It's about protecting ourselves. I'm sending this to someone I trust. Someone who can take him down. Who? She asks, panic creeping into her voice. A friend, I reply, thinking of Mike. He's good at digging into things like this. If anyone can find a way to weaponize this, it's him. All right, she says reluctantly. But, Aaron, be careful. Please. I will, I promise, though I'm not sure how much reassurance it offers. After we hang up, I call Mike. He answers on the first ring. You got something? He asks, his tone eager. Oh, I've got something, I reply, the weight of the situation clear in my voice. I'm sending it all to you now. But Mike, this isn't just about money or power. This guy is dangerous. You need to watch your back. Always do, he says, and I can hear the grin in his voice. Send it over, and I'll get to work. I transfer the files to a secure cloud folder and share the link with Mike. As I watch the upload progress, a sense of unease creeps in. Jason's retaliation, when it comes, won't be subtle. He'll come at me hard, and he won't care about collateral damage. But I've made my choice. There's no turning back now. After sending the files, I sit back and exhale, trying to calm the storm in my head. I glance at the black notebook, its pages filled with Jason's secrets, and feel a surge of determination. He's played his game long enough. Now, it's my turn. The next day, I wake to a text from Mike. This guy's dirtier than a swamp. Call me ASAP. The message sends a jolt of adrenaline through me. I grab my phone and dial his number. Talk to me, I say the moment he picks up. I've gone through most of the files you sent. Mike begins, his tone brisk and focused. This guy isn't just laundering money or bribing people. He's running a full-scale blackmail operation. He's got dirt on politicians, business execs, even law enforcement. I pinch the bridge of my nose, the weight of Mike's words sinking in. And the ledger? I ask. That's the motherlode, he replies. It's a map of his entire operation. Every deal, every payoff, every threat. It's all there. If this gets out, Jason's network collapses. But there's a catch. Of course there is, I mutter. What's the catch? Jason's not stupid, Mike explains. He's got safeguards in place. If this information leaks, it's going to hurt a lot of powerful people. People who will do whatever it takes to silence us. Perfect, I say bitterly. So what do? We go public, Mike says after a pause. Not piecemeal, everything. If we leak this strategically, we can create enough chaos to make it impossible for Jason to retaliate directly. But we'll need to coordinate. This isn't something you just drop into a news outlet's inbox. I nod, pacing the room as I process his words. What do you need from me? Time, Mike says. I'll set up a secure channel to send this to a few trusted contacts, journalists, watchdog groups, maybe even federal investigators. But Jason's going to notice people sniffing around, and when he does, he'll come for you. I'll handle Jason, I reply, my voice steady. Just make sure this hits him where it hurts. Copy that, Mike says. I'll keep you updated. As we hang up, a grim sense of purpose takes hold. The plan is risky, but it's the best chance we have to dismantle Jason's empire. He's built his power on fear and manipulation, but he's about to learn what it feels like to lose control. Later that afternoon, I notice a black SUV parked a few houses down. It's not one of my neighbors, and its tinted windows give me an uneasy feeling. Jason's people, I think. My mind racing. He's already on to me. I grab my phone and text Allison. Has Jason mentioned anything about the files? Her reply comes quickly. He knows something's wrong. He's been acting paranoid, but he hasn't said anything directly. Why? Because I think he's watching me. I type back. Tell me everything you know about his enforcers. She hesitates before responding. He has a few guys who do his dirty work. Private security types, ex-military. If they're watching you, it's serious. I glance out the window at the SUV, my pulse quickening. If Jason's sending people to intimidate me, he's already feeling the heat. That's good. It means he's vulnerable. That night, I double-checked the locks on every door and window, keeping my phone close as I review the files one last time. The pieces are coming together, but the stakes are higher than ever. One wrong move, and Jason could turn the tables. But I'm not backing down. Not now. I've come too far to let fear stop me. When I finally drift off to sleep, it's with the resolve that tomorrow will be a turning point. Jason thinks he's untouchable, but he's about to learn just how wrong he is. The next morning, the SUV is still there. Its presence feels like a shadow, a constant reminder that Jason knows I've crossed a line. I sip my coffee by the window, keeping a wary eye on it. Whoever's inside isn't making a move, but their purpose is clear. Intimidation. I grab my phone and text Mike, "I've got eyes on me." Black SUV parked outside since yesterday. Any progress? Mike responds almost immediately, "Still working." The good news? I've got 2 journalists on board, both with major outlets. Bad news? This Jason guy moves fast. He's definitely digging into you. I exhale sharply, the knot in my stomach tightening. Jason's retaliation is already underway, but I can't afford to lose focus now. The files we're preparing to leak are my shield and my sword. Without them, I'm exposed. Another ping from my phone. This time, it's Allison. Jason's furious. He knows someone broke into his house. He's calling everyone, trying to figure out who it was. My fingers hover over the screen as I consider my reply. I need to keep her in the loop, but I also need her to stay calm. Stick to the story. I type back. If he presses you, act confused. Don't let him suspect you. Her response is instant. I'm trying, but he's unpredictable. Please tell me you're close to finishing this. I don't reply. Instead, I pocket my phone and step outside, walking purposefully toward the SUV. My pulse quickens with every step, but I keep my expression neutral. As I approach, the driver's side window rolls down, revealing a man in his 40s with a hardened expression. "Morning," I say, feigning casualness. "Can I help you?" The man smirks but doesn't respond. His eyes scan me, assessing, calculating. The silence is unnerving, but I hold my ground. "You've been parked here a while," I continue. "Neighborhood watch might get curious. Just thought I'd check if you're lost." "We're fine," he says finally, his voice gruff. "Just waiting for someone." "Right," I reply, forcing a smile. "Well, let me know if you need directions." I turn and walk back to the house, my heart pounding in my chest. The message is clear. They're watching, and they're not trying to hide it. Once inside, I lock the door and immediately call Mike. "They're here," I say, my voice low but urgent. "Jason's people. They're parked outside, just sitting there." Mike swears under his breath. "He's trying to rattle you. Don't let him." The files are almost ready for release. I'm putting the final touches on the package now. Once it's out, he won't have time to harass you. He'll be too busy covering his own tracks. "How long?" I ask, gripping the phone tightly. "Another 24 hours, maybe less," he says. "But Aaron, you need to be careful. If Jason knows you're the one behind this, he might not wait." "I'll handle it," I reply, though the unease in my gut says otherwise. Just get it done. The rest of the day is a blur of preparation. I double-check the files I've saved and secure my laptop, ensuring everything is backed up in multiple locations. I send a message to Allison, warning her to stay alert and avoid Jason as much as possible. As night falls, the SUV is still there, its presence like a black hole in the corner of my vision. I close the curtains and pace the living room, the tension mounting with every passing hour. My instincts scream that something is coming, but I don't know what or when. Around midnight, my phone buzzes. It's a text from Mike. The package is live. They're downloading it now. By morning, the first stories will break. Relief floods through me, but it's tempered by a sense of foreboding. Jason won't go down without a fight, and his next move could be the most dangerous one yet. I sit down, staring at the phone in my hand, and steel myself for whatever comes next. The battle isn't over, but the tide is turning. Jason's empire is about to be exposed, and when it crumbles, I'll be ready. I wake up to chaos. My phone buzzes incessantly with notifications, texts, emails, and news alerts. The first headline hits me like a jolt of caffeine. High-powered lawyer exposed. Blackmail and corruption scandal rocks the city. Jason's name is plastered everywhere. The journalists Mike worked with didn't hold back. They published everything. The bribery schemes, the offshore accounts, the blackmail operations. Even some of the names in his ledger made it into the story. The media storm has started, and Jason is squarely in its eye. I scroll through the articles, each one more damning than the last. Photos of Jason looking smug and untouchable are juxtaposed with his shady dealings, turning his image from a respected lawyer to a criminal mastermind. For the first time, I feel a flicker of victory. The man who thought he was invincible is finally being unmasked. A text from Mike comes through. We did it. The stories are trending everywhere. Keep your head down. Things are about to get messy. I reply quickly, thanks, Mike. I owe you big time. Just stay safe, he responds. I glance out the window. The black SUV is gone. Jason's goons must have pulled back, likely to regroup after the media blitz. But I know better than to let my guard down. A man like Jason doesn't go down quietly. By mid-morning, Allison calls. Her voice is shaky but laced with relief. I saw the news, she says. Aaron, this is huge. He's done for. Not yet, I reply. He's cornered, but that makes him more dangerous. Stay away from him, Allison. Don't answer his calls or meet with him, no matter what he says. She hesitates before saying, what if he comes after you? He knows you're behind this. Let him, I say firmly. I'm ready. The rest of the day passes in a tense blur. The news continues to spread, with reporters digging deeper into Jason's connections. Politicians are issuing statements, companies are distancing themselves, and law enforcement is under pressure to take action. Jason's empire is collapsing, piece by piece. But as night falls, my unease grows. There's been no sign of retaliation, no desperate attempt to reclaim control. Jason is too calculating to simply disappear. He's plotting something. I can feel it. Around 9 p.m., my phone rings. It's an unknown number. My chest tightens as I answer. Aaron, Jason's voice oozes through the line, calm yet venomous. I have to hand it to you. You're more resourceful than I gave you credit for. My grip on the phone tightens. Your days of hiding behind your connections are over, Jason. Everyone knows what you are now. He chuckles darkly. Do you really think this ends with a few headlines? You've made a lot of enemies, Aaron. People who don't appreciate their names being dragged into this mess. I didn't put their names in your ledger. I snap. That was all you. Maybe so, he says, his tone cold. But let me make one thing clear. You've started something you can't finish. You've made me desperate, and desperate men have nothing to lose. The call ends abruptly, leaving me gripping the phone in silence. The threat hangs in the air like a storm cloud, heavy and ominous. Jason isn't done, and I know the final confrontation is coming. I lock the doors, double-check the windows, and keep my phone within arm's reach. The night stretches on, every shadow and sound magnified by my heightened senses. Jason may have nothing to lose, but I do, and I'll fight to protect it. The house is silent except for the faint hum of the refrigerator and the occasional creak of the floorboards. I sit in the living room, my phone on the table in front of me, every nerve in my body on edge. Jason's words replay in my mind. Desperate men have nothing to lose. Around midnight, I hear it, a faint scraping sound, like metal against metal. My muscles tense as I grab the heavy flashlight I'd kept nearby. I kill the lights, plunging the house into darkness. My heart pounds as I move silently toward the sound, my eyes straining to adjust. The noise comes from the back door. I crouch low, inching closer, my breathing shallow. Through the window, I catch a glimpse of a shadowy figure fiddling with the lock. Jason didn't waste any time. I crouch behind the corner wall, flashlight gripped tightly. The lock clicks, and the door creaks open. My pulse races, but I keep my composure, waiting for the intruder to step inside. The figure moves slowly, careful and deliberate. In the dim light, I see his outline, tall, broad, with the confident movements of someone who's done this before. Jason didn't come himself. He sent one of his goons. As the man takes another step inside, I flick on the flashlight, aiming the beam directly at his face. He recoils, momentarily blinded, and I lunge forward, shoving him back against the doorframe. "Who sent you?" I demand, keeping the flashlight pointed at him. He recovers quickly, swinging a fist that barely misses my head. I dodge, slamming the flashlight into his ribs. He grunts in pain but doesn't go down, his movements fueled by adrenaline and purpose. We struggle, the confined space making every move critical. He's stronger, but I'm faster, and the element of surprise works in my favor. I jab the flashlight into his face again, and he stumbles, losing his balance. Taking the opportunity, I shove him out the door and slam it shut, locking it behind him. I hear him curse outside, then the sound of heavy footsteps retreating into the night. My chest heaves as I press my back against the door, my hands trembling from the confrontation. Jason's message is clear. He's not just desperate, he's ruthless. I grab my phone and call the police, reporting the break-in. When they arrive, I give a brief statement, keeping the details vague. The last thing I need is to tip them off about the files or Jason's involvement. The officer takes my report, his skeptical expression suggesting he doesn't fully buy my story. As they leave, I text Mike, "Jason sent someone. It's escalating. How's the fallout?" His response is quick, huge. Federal agencies are involved now. Jason's network is unraveling fast. Keep your head down. This is his last stand. I sit down, exhaustion washing over me. The fight isn't over, but the tide has turned. Jason's empire is crumbling, and his desperation only makes him more dangerous. But I've come too far to back down now. By morning, the news cycle is relentless. Jason's name is plastered everywhere, and the fallout reaches new heights. His connections are cutting ties, his allies are turning on him, and the authorities are closing in. The man who thought he was untouchable is finally facing the consequences of his actions. I know he won't stop until he's forced to, but as I sit in the quiet of my home, the bruises from the night before a dull ache, I feel something I haven't felt in a long time: hope. Jason's reign of fear is ending, and while the scars of this battle will remain, I know I'll come out of it stronger. This is the beginning of the end, for him, and for the part of me that let fear control my life. It's time to move forward, to rebuild, and to leave the past behind. Have you ever faced a moment where you had to stand your ground against impossible odds? Share your story in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales of triumph and resilience.